This is for the purpose of allowing you more efficacy, more ability to stay in the moment along your path, on your journey, and allow you to have a clearer understanding of how your higher mind, your passion, and synchronicity work together to allow you to take the steps necessary for you to navigate through the different parallel versions of Earth that are more and more reflective of the version that you prefer to experience, or the versions, more precisely, that you prefer to continue to experience as you shift moment to moment to moment. The primary point of this particular transmission and title is really about learning to relax into the moment, of letting go of any insistence on the concept of a goal that you're attempting to achieve, a place you're attempting to get to, some destination out in the so-called future. Not that you will not experience the idea of outcomes and goals and destinations, but these things are experienced along the way. In other words, please remember this. Your journey, no matter how you experience it, whether in physical reality, whether in non-physical reality, your journey never ends. There is no ultimate place you are attempting to get to. If you understand that everything that's important is happening right now, nothing more important will ever happen, as you say, in the future. It will just be a different thing, equally important to whatever's going on right now. You can begin to relax into the now, into the moment, understanding that as your passions are presented to you, in terms of whatever form they come in, by synchronicity, that these experiences, the willingness to act on the things that contain more passion, more excitement, more curiosity, more attractiveness, are simply in the moment. They're in that form to get you to take an action that represents the step you need to take at that moment. As we have said before, just because your excitement presents itself in a certain way, in a certain format, doesn't mean that that format always has to come to fruition. Sometimes it might, but many times it might not. At least not in the sense that that will be the next thing that manifests. Again, it may, but it may not. So the idea is to start really looking, start really connecting to the things that present themselves to you as opportunities to act on that are representative of your passion, looking at them only as a step along the way on your journey. Nothing in that sense is the ultimate goal. The only thing that is truly, if you want to call it a goal, the ultimate goal, is being yourself. And it is the synchronicity and the passion and the higher mind that allows you at every moment to be yourself by giving those things to act on that represent your true vibration, the fullness of your being. As you step from stepping stone to stepping stone on the journey, on the path that you are, it's very important to really pay attention to what is happening right here and right now in every single one of those moments, in every single one of those stepping stones, and really savor it for what it is right here, right now, as simply a step along the way. No matter how exciting it may be, never assume, never insist that that particular presentation, that particular experience has to be an ultimate thing, has to unfold in a certain way. It is nothing more than a step on the journey of you being yourself, which is really the entire point of the experience. Yes, they're presented to you in certain ways that are reflective of the personality you have created yourself to be, of the way in which you designed, so to speak, your theme, to be this person, this personality, this reflection, this aspect of all that is? Yes, of course it is. And that can make it seem as if this personality must achieve this thing in this particular way by this kind of time, or that something has gone wrong. But this exercise, this idea, and the meditation that will follow in this transmission this day is all about really relaxing off of that idea and really just allowing it to flow through you in the moment, no matter how it comes to you, no matter how exciting, how passionate you may be about something, not to lose the passion, but not to rigidize it, not to structurize it in a way that insists that it must unfold in a certain way, because you really don't know, you really do not know exactly why it came to you in the way that it did. And this is why we are explaining to you that no matter how it appears, no matter how much energy might seem to be behind it, no matter how much synchronicity there may appear to be, it is simply a step along the way on your journey of being yourself, which is really the only goal. Everything else is an expression of that goal, but are not the goals themselves. The idea of coming to fruition in anything that excites you is all well and good, and many times it will happen. But even coming to fruition in a particular way that the passion may have presented itself to you is not the ultimate goal. It is just another step along the way, another part of the overall experience of your unending journey of being yourself, of discovering yourself from a new point of view, of just existing in the moment, savoring the moment, experiencing the moment, being you as fully as you can in every moment with everything that's presented to you, no matter how it looks. Whether you prefer it or not, it's there for a reason. Use the moment. Use it up fully. Dive into it. Stay with it. Don't ignore it. Don't attempt to get beyond it. Don't rush forward trying to get somewhere else. This moment, whatever is happening in it, is the key to really experiencing the fullness of your journey, so that you are really validating and savoring every single stepping stone, every single one. For if you're not using it fully, then it's not there to support you to get to the next stepping stone. You create gaps that you cannot get past if you don't really fully appreciate what's going on at this particular moment on your journey of being you. It's very important for you to focus on the idea of being you. You may not always know what that means, but you will find out. You will discover it if you just relax into the understanding that everything that comes to you is simply just another step along the way. It's not an ultimate goal that needs to be achieved. It's not a place you have to hurry to get to. There is no clock. You're not running out of time for anything that's relevant in your life. If you stay in the moment and just experience everything that comes as another step along the journey of being you, then everything will unfold in perfect timing, and you can feel yourself going with the flow of your truth, sailing along smoothly as you go from step to step to step, knowing that everything, every step, is just another step along the way of the journey of being who you truly are. So begin to breathe and relax into this idea that there's nothing more important than the now moment, because it is the now moment and in the now moment that you will discover by your interactions with what's happening at that moment who you truly are. And that's the most important thing you can do, to really allow yourself to move through your journey, to be your journey, and know yourself more deeply, more fully, more truly, and feel the fulfillment of the reflection of all that is and all the potential within you that will unfold, yes, over time, because that's the focus you have. But you will feel the fulfillment as you go, that every single moment has been savored to its maximum, so that you know you have left nothing out, left nothing behind, ignored nothing, that you've paid attention to everything that's there, and truly absorbed everything that has been brought to you at that moment. Because there is nothing irrelevant in this moment. There's nothing irrelevant in this moment. And there's nothing irrelevant in this moment. Every single thing is the orchestration you have agreed to participate in. When we take you through the meditation, we will continue the idea of how to breathe in a more relaxed way into every moment, so that you truly begin to experience your passion, things you do prefer, things you don't prefer, interactions with others, reflections that you may get through synchronicity, everything that comes your way, messages from the higher mind, messages from spirit guides. Whatever it is that's happening, you'll be able to experience it simply more and more and more as another beautiful, orchestrated step along the way of the journey that you are. Yes.
And then today I have 3 topics to discuss with you.
All right, speak up.
Sure. The first topic is the my near-death experience.
How exciting. Do tell.
It was super intense. And then
you like that word, don't you? Intense.
It is very intense.
Oh, all right, if you say so.
I would like to express my gratitude for all the spirit guides during this process, like Anubis and Kukumas. So how did they know each other?
Well, it depends. Can be part of a soul family, can simply be part of an agreement to assist certain kinds of beings in a certain way. It can be many different reasons that they might interact.
I see. So I feel like this virus actually transformed me. I'm the ground zero of...
Well, in a sense, yes. It's one of the opportunities that it presents to people on your planet to allow themselves to be transformed in a way that might accelerate them toward more of who they wish to be.
So does that mean I'm kind of mutating right now because of the virus?
In a sense, yes, although not necessarily directly because of the virus in terms of a causal way, but in the sense that you're willing to allow yourself to alter your frequency and thus your genetics in response to the reflection brought about by the virus.
So during this process, I constantly seeing the triangles, and particularly, well, I didn't do that on purpose, but...
No, but it's a representation of stability.
I see. And then particularly, I also saw the black triangle with the blue light in the background. I'm just wondering, did I get any help from your civilization?
Well, you're tapping into the collective consciousness, so you're doing that to aid and assist yourself, which is perfectly fine. That's why we gave that symbol to all of you, so that you could tap into our collective consciousness and assist yourselves in the stabilization process when you go through these challenges.
So during this challenge, I was informed by my higher self that I will be part of the artificial intelligence. So it shows me that there's a very long hose, it's like connected to the machine and then attached to my third eye. And then my higher self said, do not be afraid of the machine. I'm wondering how it works.
Well, that's a symbolic representation using symbols that exist in your physical mind to represent what's going on in energy in a higher dimension. It's not a literal machine.
I see.
But it's a way of understanding that you are giving yourself an opportunity to connect more strongly to your higher mind, which is very similar to the idea that people on your planet refer to as higher or artificial intelligence.
So, in other words, I'm not going to get another implant.
No.
I see. That also leads to the next question is the hybrid children and the ships.
Yes.
So during this process, I saw that my third eye was widely open. And then I saw this little boy wobbling and very happy walking toward me.
Yes.
And the little boy, is that the hybrid kid I'm going to meet in the future?
Possibly. There's a high probability, although it's not absolutely definite yet, because many things have to change first before these things become completely crystallized. But the probability is high, yes.
Can I know the percentage?
Above 80.
Wow. Does he has a name yet?
Toying with one. Not sure yet. Could be something similar to either saffron or something of a spice that has a kind of strong effect.
Wow. Definitely, I will look forward to it.
All right.
So I have very intense dreams, and then
There's that word again.
yes, it's very synchronized.
Do you spend a lot of time camping since you like to be in tents so often?
Kind of.
All right.
So I'm.
Please do remember, it's all right for things to be intense. Challenges can be intense, but please, as a reminder, don't automatically assume that intense is negative.
It's very exciting.
All right.
And I have so much fun with riding these rabbits.
All right. So do continue.
This girl, she dressed up like a maverick magician, and then she installed an eye of discernment on my right eye. I'm wondering how that works.
This experience you had where, when, how?
It was in a dream.
Yeah.
And then she told me that she's gonna show me something she found from the Grand Central Station. So it was like a ring, and the ring keeps spinning and spinning. Eventually, there's a green laser light out of the ring, and then it forms a green shape of an eye, and then all of a sudden it pops.
All right. These are simply energetic adjustments that the beings you are working with on another level are helping to make in your energy, to help align you, to help connect you more strongly. So you're simply remembering in certain symbolic form some of the adjustments to your energy that are being made with the assistance of other beings that you are interacting with on that level.
I see. Another experience was like in the dream realm. I was beamed into a ship, but this ship is actually look quite different. It's actually like a museum, very classic looking. And then I was informed that I should put my hand into the black box to draw an animal for the spiritual companionship. Yeah. So the one I picked up is actually the caterpillar from Alice Wonderland. I wonder how that.
All right. Well, again, you are allowing yourself to recognize the symbol of your own transformation, because the caterpillar changes into the butterfly, which is the very strong symbol in your collective consciousness of transformation from a lower vibration to a higher vibration.
And then last month, a few weeks ago, I put a contact crystal by my window, and I saw a very big orb. It's very neon and white flying by my window.
Yes.
And I'm wondering who that was.
A spirit guide.
Is that the tall white?
No, a spirit guide.
Oh.
Not an extraterrestrial. A spirit guide.
I got you. And then I was so excited to, one night, also during the pandemic, I saw more than 30 ships, and they're popping out of the cloud. And then,
well, there's a lot of traffic around you all the time. It's just that as you raise your frequency, your senses become more capable of perceiving what's going on all around you. They become visible.
So they're flying toward east to Long Island. I'm wondering what.
There's a lot of traffic going here and there, to and fro, for a variety of reasons. I can't list them all. Some of them are simply on their own business. Some of them are observing. Some of them are connecting. Some of them are helping. It just depends. But all I'm saying is, if you all really get to the point where you raise your frequency to allow your senses to become more capable of perceiving things on higher frequency levels, you will realize that there are many, many things, many ships, many beings, many different kinds of manifestations passing through your reality overhead all the time, and even through your planet all the time. It just becomes sort of more like you're living right next to an airport.
Yes, and then also I'm so grateful for the moon meditation from Sedona last year.
Yes, well, it is our pleasure to deliver suggestions for permission slips that your imagination can alter in whatever way, shape, or form works best for you.
And then after the meditation, I do it myself, and the moon started turning to a smiley face. And then every time I look at the moon, meditate with it, and there's a different being talking to me.
All right. So you're using that as a reflective permission slip.
So it's a reflection.
Everything is a reflection.
That's
Remember, physical reality isn't real. It's a mirror.
So the third topic is the non-physical energy. And just through synchronicity, I have been come across lots of tetrahedrons. And then our physicists saying that one group of them, they said if we keep cutting the physical reality to the smallest, it's actually like a triangle crystal.
Is like a tetrahedral form. That's what we've said for a long time. Tetrahedrons are the underlying template of your physical reality.
So how does the Merkaba come into play?
It comes into play as a symbol of as above, so below. The idea of the tetrahedrons intersecting, one pointing up and one pointing down, shows the connection, energetic connection and consciousness connection between physical and non-physical reality, between physical mind and higher mind.
You also mentioned that will be the most efficient antenna to use the free energy.
Yes, made out of certain materials in a certain configuration and encapsulated within different shells of resonating chambers, it can function as what we might loosely call a space-time antenna or transformational energy matrix, or shall we say a transformer, or what you might call a down resonating capacitor. There are many ways to define this idea, but it is the heart. The Merkaba shape is the heart of that device.
Wow. So you mentioned that fractals is another form of the free energy. I'm wondering.
Well, it's a representation. It's a certain representation of energy relationships, just as phi ratios are what you call the golden mean, golden proportions, fractal expressions. All of these are different expressions of the relationship of resonances within existence to one another that define different levels of reality, including your physical reality.
And how about the time crystal? When you mentioned that you actually flick back and forth, that reminds me of Tesla. He discovered the AC/DC.
In a sense, yes, it's a representation of the connection of forward and backward time, of time and anti-time. It is a representation of parallel realities expressed in crystalline form, but your scientists have to gain much more familiarity with this to understand how this might be connected or representative of these different concepts.
I see. And final question, just through synchronicity, the Amazon.com, the distribution center in California, is on fire.
Yes.
So what's the reflection? I mean, maybe it's telling us that the Amazon jungle was also in trouble.
Then that's what you take from it. Then that's what that reflection is to you, though there are many, many more symbolic reflections, again, depending upon the person that is perceiving it. It can be representative of other things as well. It can be representative of resistance to the transmission of things, transmission of information that causes things to heat up because of its resistance, and it's not flowing freely in the way that it really needs to. It can be representative of many different things depending upon the person that's looking.
So what's the action I can take at a personal level? I mean,
you decide. Follow your passion. You decide.
I see.
Follow the formula. That's all you need to do to figure out everything you need to do and take action on in your life. That's all you need to do. That's why we give it to you that way. We boil it down into its simplest possible 4-step formula. That's an instruction manual for how to proceed and move through life, for how to navigate your reality in a way that leaves nothing relevant out and brings you every single bit of information that's relevant for you to know and every single experience that's relevant for you to have in your life as it unfolds. So thank you for your interaction and your sharing, and we bid you an exciting and challenging and intense good day.
A good day to you too. Thank you, Bashar. Avail.
Avail.
Or, distilled completely down to I'm separate from all that is, which I know is not true. And then through recently focusing on using the AAA formula in the last month, I realized after seeing Bashar at the last CLE that I have a reinforcing mechanism that is saying that if I do get what I need or prefer, that it's actually going to cause more suffering. So my question is, can I continue just using the AAA formula? Will that be enough? Or do I need bigger guns? Do I need a bigger permission slip or some insight from Bashar that would help me finally let go of these fear-based beliefs that I've been using and believing my whole life? Thank you so much.
You can continue to use the AAA formula, but at the same time, what you really need to do is have deeper investigation into the motivational mechanism of why you would continue to hold on to something you say you don't prefer. So you have to ask yourself what you're getting out of holding on to it because you believe something worse would happen if you let it go. That's the key, the motivational mechanism of understanding what you believe would be the worst thing that would happen if you let go of holding on to the negative thing you're holding on to. Because you believe that somehow holding on to that thing you don't prefer is actually serving you better than letting it go. You are afraid that letting it go would cause something worse to happen. You've said so in your question. So it's the motivational mechanism that is the key of understanding, and you have to find out what it is you think holding on to this negative thing is preventing you from experiencing that would be worse. So you need more deeper, honest self-investigation as to what that would be and why you think something worse would happen and what that worst thing would be. It's not a fact, it's just a story. You have to really wrap your mind around that. It's not a fact that something worse will happen, it's just a story. But you're telling yourself that story or buying into that story and believing that story, and so it feels safer to hold on to what you're holding on to, even if you don't prefer it. Because again, you keep believing that the alternative would be worse. So you need to clarify what that actually is to you.
Good day. Hi, Bashar.
Good day. What would you like to discuss with us this day?
I would like to talk to you about counterparts.
Yes.
So, um, I previously discussed with you, and I have a counterpart, and I made the choice to sort of separate space because the relationship wasn't aligned.
All right. Sometimes counterparts are for that purpose.
Yes. So I kind of wanted to ask you, reading my energy, if sort of you can read that I have met my agreement, if my side of the street is clean.
By asking the question, we would assume that you don't necessarily think that it is.
Well, I just don't know. I mean, I have done everything I could.
To do what?
Sorry.
To do what?
Meaning, like, I did everything I could in the relationship to be as real and as honest and to end it as, like, sincerely as possible.
All
But
right.
that you have previously said that sometimes counterparts have, like, agreements.
Yes, but that can be the agreement too.
Yes.
Walking away can be part of the agreement, and sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do because you're showing the other being the consequences of the choices that they're making that may be vibrationally incompatible with the choices that you prefer, thus giving them the opportunity to either change or continue along the path that they are continuing, which would perpetuate the idea of separation between you physically.
Yes. And so I was just sort of saying, can you look at my energy and know anything
Yes,
about that agreement?
I know what you are saying, and what I'm saying is if what I have just said aligns with you, then you're doing fine.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you. All right. So I had a dream, and in the dream, there were three Black Panthers and a tiger. And I have spoken to you about my dreams, and I'm visited by many big cats. And
Yes.
in this dream, I've made peace with tiger. I still have fear about jaguar, and apparently I have fear about Black Panther because in this dream there were three Black Panthers and a tiger, and the tiger came close, almost sort of introduce them, and the Black Panthers stayed in the back, and then I woke up.
Are you afraid of your own power?
Sure.
Why? What do you mean, sure?
I mean,
Why are you afraid of your own power? What are you afraid might happen if you express your power?
what is power in your definition?
The ability to be your authentic self.
Am I afraid to be my authentic self?
Yes. Are you afraid of any reactions that might occur in your society being your authentic self? Are you afraid to follow your passion? Are you afraid of any kind of response to following your passion?
Okay. The way that I can answer this is I must be, right? Because I have the fear.
Well, what are you afraid will happen if you do follow your passion?
Probably just failure. That's the first thing that came to mind.
How can you fail by following your passion? Those two concepts do not go together.
Well, what if, well, how does it,
In other words, if you have an insistence or an assumption as to what you think the outcome of following your passion might be, and you don't achieve the outcome you insisted upon, you're going to call that a failure. But this is why the formula says to have no insistence and no assumption as to what the outcome might be of acting on your passion, because the real truth, the authentic truth is, even though sometimes you may guess correctly what the outcome might be, you actually have no idea what the ideal outcome actually needs to look like. And therefore, if you simply allow synchronicity to show you what the outcome actually would be of acting on your passion, and you're willing to stay in a positive state no matter what manifests, then in following the formula, your life will continue to flow. You will learn the lessons you need to learn. You will grow and expand your consciousness in that way. But if you have insistence on what you think is supposed to happen by acting on your passion, then yes, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because you're insisting that you know best what the outcome should be, when the truth is you have no idea what the best outcome actually needs to look like.
okay, so let me ask it like this.
Yes.
Is it possible I have a spiritual contract where the outcome is stuff that doesn't happen for me in the physical life? Because I do follow my passion, most of them. There's more passion I could follow, and I will do that. However, is following your passion supposed to support you?
Yes.
Okay, so what if that's not happening?
Then what you're doing is you're limiting your definition of support, because there are many forms of support. What kind of support do you think you need?
The kind that allows me to pay my bills.
Yes. So you're focused on the form of money.
I haven't been before, to be honest. It's
Then why are you now?
because I have increasing bills.
All
So
right. And so remember, communication is a form of abundance.
I know.
Well, have you used communication to communicate with the people that you seem to owe money to engage them and include them in your process, to let them know you have every intention of paying them, but to describe your situation and see if they're willing to change your situation in some way, shape, or form that makes it easier for you to pay what you owe?
I could have more of those conversations.
Then have more of them.
Okay,
And
well,
put yourself out there in a way that allows you to take advantage of all the different forms of abundance, such as
I
being
feel like
given
I
a
take
gift.
advantage of every form of abundance but money. So what does that mean? Like, what is
It
that?
means you're too focused on money.
No, meaning I use every form of abundance other than money because I usually don't have the money. So
But you can't discount it. You have to include it as equal to all the other forms. You can't shut it out either.
I know. And so, but how would I be like, what mental block would I be
All
showing?
right, let's start from scratch. Can you name some of the expressions of your passion that you're acting on?
Writing, singing, channeling.
All right. Are you saying absolutely none of these are supporting you in any way, shape, or form?
I'm not saying that.
What are you saying?
They support me, but they're not supporting me enough to support my bills.
Can you change your situation so as to not have the bills?
I would love to. What does that mean to you? What would that mean to you?
All right. Well, again, let's take it down to basics. You say that you are writing. Yes?
Yes.
What have you written?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I am writing. I've written books. I write prose. I write I write about words. I write fiction. I write about spiritual matters.
All right. And you said you are channeling.
Yes.
You are channeling to the public?
Yes. I just started doing life regressions per our conversation where you told me in another version of myself was acting out people's dreams.
All right. And are you charging for your channeling?
I'm in the okay, so maybe this is what you're telling me. I'm in a trial period because I wanted to make sure a litmus test myself and perfect my process. So I'm
Answer the question, please. Are you charging for your channeling?
not this kind, no.
That's the problem. Is your channeling not worth it, even in its present stage?
It's definitely worth it in its present stage.
Then why aren't you charging for it as an equal exchange?
Well, when I try out a new service, I like to do a trial, and so I offer the service for free. So I have, a subgroup, a test.
And how long do your trials last? Obviously, long enough that it leaves you incapable of paying your bills.
Okay, I received that.
All right. Are you willing to charge even for the trials? And why do you think you need too much of the trial?
I guess I like to make sure I'm doing things with integrity. So I like.
Do you see what I mean by not actually expressing your authentic power? You're too hesitant. You're too unsure that you're doing something properly. Stop having trials. Just do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Just engage fully. Jump in. Let go of the hesitation. Let go of the uncertainty. Just do it. Be your authentic self. Ask for an equal and fair exchange from the get-go.
From the get-go. Okay. I can do that.
All right.
Thank you.
So, if you understand how to apply that to every aspect of your passion, things will change.
I'm going to work on that. It's
all right. Work on it for as long as you wish.
okay. I just mean, obviously you have to go about the process of doing the things, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But without hesitation as to what they're worth.
And how do you put a price on that?
When you feel like you can walk away and feel completely satisfied and that you have offered a fair exchange to the others that you are giving your gifts to, then you will feel that it is a balance. If you walk away and feel that something is missing and you are giving yourself the indications that you cannot support yourself, then something is out of balance.
Well, according to that, I should be charging a lot more for what I do.
Maybe you should, if you believe that you're worth it.
I believe that I'm worth it.
Do you?
Oh, okay. Yes, I do. Here's the hang-up. The hang-up is knowing people are in economic straits and then charging what you're worth. Isn't there a gap? Okay, there's a gap in reality there, right? Because
the idea is, do you believe that what you're charging on its own is exorbitant?
Not at this point, but if I were charging the prices that I what it's worth, what I know it's worth.
Yes. Do you not believe that there are people who would find that amount actually doable and equitable?
I do.
There will be people who won't, but are they actually your customers?
well, there are a lot of people, there are the people in the most need.
Yes. And remember that while you are charging what you believe you're worth and attracting customers that are totally happy paying that, you can at the same time offer others who cannot afford it a discount. But that doesn't mean that you have to offer the same discount to everyone.
Right.
You can determine on a case-by-case basis when to share something with someone at a lower amount, but that doesn't mean you deprive yourself of what you believe you are worth for those customers who are just fine paying it. It's all about equating to different levels, being equal to different levels of exchange and doing them all. So sometimes you can offer something for free. Sometimes you can offer for something at a discount. Sometimes you can offer something at full price. All of them together will support you.
Okay. And you're saying, so at the price that I actually want to charge, I charge that. And then I will be in the reality where such people who can afford those things will find me.
Yes, absolutely. That's how it works. And the people that can't will ask you, may I have a discount? And when they do, or when you get any indication that they may need what you have to share and really want what you have to share and desire it, but simply can't pay you what you have expressed is your authentic worth, then you can decide to offer them a discount. You can work it out. You can negotiate. You can be free to do that, but you can be free to do that on every level. You don't have to just be totally exclusive on one level alone.
Yeah. I see my issue as the assumption of what people can do as opposed
Yes.
to attracting.
Everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Attract them all.
Okay.
You can work with each and every one of them to whatever level they are comfortable with. But the hesitation is preventing you from expressing your authenticity and getting a fair exchange for it.
For 37 years.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got to change that pronto.
All right. Please do so.
Regarding this step 2 of social experiment, how does this apply to spiritual conversations with people who enjoy discussing spiritual matters rather than conversations with religious people who hold strong religious beliefs given to them by that religion? I ask because I enjoy talking with spiritual-minded people, including Bashar's spiritual teachings.
Step 2 does not prevent you from having spiritually oriented discussions. It is simply asking you not to argue with people who have specific beliefs that may be either spiritual or religious. In the sense of sharing is fine. In the sense of attempting to convince someone to change, that is what the step 2 is attempting to avoid, so that you can remain neutral, share where appropriate, share where there is like-minded discussion. That is fine.
In a recent interview by Darryl, Next Step for Our Planet, Darryl said the vibration of contact and the interstellar alliance is a very narrow bandwidth. He discussed the idea as it relates to conspiracy theories. Does the remark, a very narrow bandwidth, have any secondary meaning? And if so, can you expand on this?
It simply means that there is a specific frequency to the version of Earth that is experiencing contact with certain extraterrestrial societies. There are an infinite number of parallel realities, and many of them may be experiencing contact. But they are experiencing contact in different combinations in different ways, each of which is its own narrow bandwidth. A slight change in the frequency would mean that you're experiencing contact in a different way and even potentially with a different group of extraterrestrial beings. So the idea of our particular interstellar alliance, the organization and what it contains in terms of the civilizations, the degree to which they participate, the degree to which humans on Earth will participate, the degree to which we are involved with you in open contact, has a specific frequency, which is simply another way of saying a narrow bandwidth. So the steps we are giving you is specifically trained to that bandwidth.
Can you explain how to discern between a conspiracy theory versus just new or lesser known information? For example, there are probably people who would call the hybrid agenda a conspiracy theory, and your transmissions don't have conventional scientific evidence or agreement around them. But it still doesn't seem like we were meant to treat this information as a conspiracy theory. And there are other examples in different fields, like progressive work in archaeology and such, that some might treat as conspiracy just because it's different than what's established or traditional. How do we sort out what is conspiracy from what is clear, so to speak?
Do the work, do the research yourself. If something is something you are interested in, don't just follow because one person says something or a number of people says something and go off just the idea that it feels right because you're out of touch with why it is you decide to go along with it. Do the work, do the research. If it is something of interest to you, take the time to do your own investigations. Find out what facts you can, find out what information you can. Make sure that your particular style of research isn't flawed in terms of simply being something that goes off of what you would prefer to feel out of anxiety or any other feeling, and allow yourself the opportunity to take the time to do the research. Don't rush to a conclusion. Remain neutral, even with our information. This is why we give you things like the formula, because when you take the time to apply them, really learn them, then you can get an effect and see that it is something that works. So the idea of any other particular discipline, any other knowledge or information that may be coming to you, if it is important to you, if it is something that you find attractive or you are curious about, take the time to do the research, even if that research takes days, weeks, months, years. You don't have to rush into believing something to be true just because someone says it, just because you might feel some gravitational attraction toward it. Take the time, aside from the attraction, to find out what really makes sense to you. Make sure that your technique of investigation isn't flawed, that you're not making unbased assumptions. Just allow yourself to take the time to find out what about it really is relevant for you, what about it is really relevant to most people. What is it that really makes a difference in your world in a way that can be, to you, verified by making the kind of changes in your reality that allow you to move forward in a beneficial way? A lot of conspiracy theories are, shall we say, peppered with fear, peppered with anxiety, are simply spur-of-the-moment ideas with absolutely no research. And even some people who say that there is, research online, are simply going along with someone who says they've done the research, but they don't really know if their research is flawed. They may simply be going off a hunch. So the idea is take the time to do the research yourself, no matter how long it takes. Stay neutral until you satisfy yourself completely that it is something worth pursuing, because you're the one deciding that you're attracted to it. And if you are attracted to it, then it's worth pursuing. Take the time to do so in a manner, in a way that really gives you the assurance and the confidence that it is something that can be applied in your life in a relevant way and benefits humanity.
Thank you.
Yes.
Along those lines, this person wants to know if urban legends are included in conspiracy theories.
They can be. In a sense, they're like a close cousin, but again, what I just said still applies. If you are attracted to something like that, curious about it, take the time to do the work. Take the time to do the research. Make sure that your research technique isn't flawed. Make sure that you are actually doing the science, that you're really doing the math, if that is applicable. Allow yourself to remain neutral until you find something that truly represents convincing evidence to you. And ask yourself always the why question. Why would this be important for me to know one way or another? Remain neutral until you can fully answer that question as to why it's important to you. Because then, if you have honest self-investigation, you may discover that the why may be based on anxiety, or the why may be based on excitement, or the why may be based on being of service to humanity, or a number of other reasons. But find out why you're interested in it. Don't just accept it at face value.
Is it safe to say that all of us here are involved in a conspiracy theory called ET-UFO? You mentioned focusing on evidence and facts. Will we be provided with such in the next steps? Just so open contact is not labeled as a conspiracy theory by others.
Yes, the steps will include things to do that will take you step by step in a direction where you can verify things for yourself when necessary in the appropriate timing. But I also remind you, it doesn't matter what other people think.
Is there any issue with watching or reading educational material that helps us understand more about how conspiracy theories happen, the psychology behind them, and the actual collective facts that they obscure? Basically, not listening to the conspiracy theory itself, but maybe something illuminating about the psychology and such around it.
Yes, that can be a valid part of your research, to understand why conspiracy theories exist, why they proliferate, how they proliferate, the reasons people have for buying into them, so on and so forth. So yes, that can be a valid part of your research. And that's part of what we're talking about. Research it on all levels. Find out what's going on and why humans may be attracted to perpetuate certain theories, conspiracy or otherwise. Ask yourself the why questions. And so that brings psychology into it. Understand the psychology, and you may understand more clearly what is worth pursuing as a theory.
Dragon's tail sweeping in the Book of Revelations, and the Year of the Dragon, and Jerry Sargent Star Magic, and the Dragon's Eye while you're meditating when you see one. And what do they all have in common?
They are archetypal symbols of the journey of humanity in processing the different personality types that are investigating fear-based beliefs, negative beliefs, and transforming them into a positive understanding and creating an evolutionary path for yourself to reclaim your true power.
Wow. That was large.
All right, if you say so.
It was. How can we raise the frequency of our food? Like we can do the same thing to water. So when we say grace, should we actually be saying benevolent things about the food?
You
Because
can. You can, but also remember that when you raise your own frequency, what you will be attracted to eat will be the things of higher frequency automatically.
Yeah, I do understand that. And at the end of the grace or prayer, should we or should we not say the word amen? Because there's a reference that it might be praising Amen Ra, who professed to be God, but he's not all that is.
It will give whatever meaning you give to it. It actually simply means so be it.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Whatever you decide is the definition that works for you, you can say whatever you wish. It's just a permission slip. Remember that prayer, grace, is a state of appreciation for what you have in the present. That's all it is. A state of appreciation and gratitude for what you are and what you have right here and right now. That's all it is. That's a high vibrational frequency that will attract high vibrational frequency things in physical reality as representations of the frequency you have taken yourself to.
Okay.
So it is an attitude of gratitude and thanks for who you are and what you attract as the lessons you need to learn in life.
Okay. Did I have an out of body experience when I had read a Sylvia Brown book and followed the directions? And
Yes, you have out of body experiences like everyone all the time, especially when you are asleep physically. You don't necessarily remember all of them, but by focusing yourself on certain information that had to do with it, you may have given yourself the opportunity to remember some of the out of body experience that you have had.
yeah, because coming back, I felt like I was levitating about 3 feet above my bed and slammed into my bed when I woke up.
Yes.
And then recently I woke up really suddenly because I realized I was in a black space. And if that is an out of body experience, and if that happens again, how can I relax myself and not be so scared and wake myself up?
Well, what were you afraid of?
I don't know. I just remember it was just black. And then suddenly I woke up and I knew I was in fear. But then I realized, well,
All right.
there's not.
There is nothing to be afraid of. You may have been facing the idea of what people on your planet typically call the shadow self, coming to terms with the idea of any fear-based beliefs you may still be holding on to, because those things can come up when you start to increase your frequency. When you start to shift to higher dimensions, you have to let go of those things, and letting go of those things, those remnants of fear-based beliefs that may exist in your physical mind, can create the idea of having to face them, having to truly understand why you're holding on to them or why you were. So increasing your frequency may put you face to face with beliefs you have to let go of.
Yes. Okay. Um, so I've had some supernatural things that happen in my life,
Yes,
and here's
I understand what you mean by that, but everything is natural, even what you
oh,
refer to as supernatural.
okay. Well, one little one is I saw, you know how the tuna cans they can stack up on top of each other? I
Yes,
had 3 of them in my cupboard, and I was about 8 feet away from my cupboard. I literally saw the tuna can jump off and land next to it. So I was like, what energy did that?
you did.
Oh, cool.
There are moments when humans will slip into a higher frequency state and recognize that they are creating, literally creating, the projection of their physical reality. And so, in that moment of unguardedness, you may have become more of your true self and demonstrated to yourself how you actually can manipulate physical reality because it's your projection anyway.
That's amazing.
So, you will give yourself these little markers from time to time to remind you that physical reality is extremely malleable, plastic, and flexible, and that you are creating it moment to moment. And that if you stop focusing so strongly on the idea of only being in physical reality, only focused on physical reality, you can from time to time see physical reality shift itself in ways that seem quite magical.
So that might be one of my gifts then that I'm not aware of.
It's a gift you all have, but it comes with the awareness that you are creating your physical reality and not being afraid to allow it to be reflective of the true way in which you are actually generating it.
Hmm. Okay. I had a dream that my husband and I were walking into a venue where I was gonna perform because I'm a singer, and we're bringing the gear in, and suddenly the warehouse changes into, the place changes into a warehouse, and it's very dark, but the walls are glass, and I can look over and see the next building over, and the people are screaming and running out.
Yes,
And I'm calm. My husband is kind of sketchy, but then he realizes he can be calm because I'm calm.
yes.
Um, is was that a premonition of an unveiling?
It is the recognition of what we have called the splitting prism of different realities that are separated by analogous glass walls where you can see other realities where people may be choosing things that are not your preferred vibration, but they can't affect you because they can't get through the glass wall even though you can see them.
Hmm.
So it's a recognition that you are in your own reality.
Yes. Okay.
That there is nothing to fear by observing what other people may be choosing in their realities that is not your vibrational preference. Because you have to match their frequency in order to experience what they're experiencing.
Right. Which leads me to back when I was a kid, I used to think, is the color purple to me the same color as the color purple to them? And then what
Not
I see,
always.
the shape of a human is that what they see?
Not always. It might be similar, but it may not be identical. Because again, each of you have your own reality and your own interpretation of what you are creating as an interface in order to interact with other beings, other consciousnesses. But what you are interacting with is your created interface that makes sense to you, that is relevant as a reflection to you. So it might be very similar, but it may not be identical.
Okay. And as a child, I used to be super excited about going to bed because I would always dream of floating up.
Yes. Out of body experiences.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The silver cord. And it was like, just felt so wonderful.
Yes, well, this is natural for all of you to do. Not all of you remember doing that, but it's something that you all definitely do when you're asleep because you're going back to your natural state, because you have calmed down the physical consciousness, the physical focus, and you can become more of yourself, which is naturally spirit, non-physical. The physical silver cord is simply one way of interpreting the idea that you're still connected to a physical experience. You haven't severed that tie. You're not going back completely into the idea of waking up into spirit. You're still maintaining a connection to the experience of physical reality, which happens within your soul.
Kind of like the movie Avatar.
Kind of, as a simplistic analogy.
Yeah, for sure. Last question. I don't know if you can answer it. Has my sister Jenny reincarnated somewhere? And if so, where and what's she doing?
Well, you understand that incarnation is multiple simultaneous carnations, not reincarnation literally in a linear sense.
Right.
Everything exists at the same time.
Yeah.
So that soul can be having other experiences, but it's not literally reincarnation in the way that most people on your planet mean it. So you will always be able to contact the spirit of that being, even if they are experiencing something that to you would represent another incarnation.
Right. Okay. So whether or not they're in physical form or a non-physical form, I can always contact them.
Yes, because every form always exists and every form exists at the same time. So whatever way in which it is easiest for you to understand how to make that connection, you can use that to make that connection, and that part of the being will always be available to you, no matter what else they may be choosing to do. Because remember that spirits are multidimensional beings.
Do you happen to know what her little signs are? Like some people say pennies are feathers, but does she have a particular sign?
Well, what has occurred in your synchronicity that reminds you of her? Can you remember any instance of simply going about your day and suddenly something just reminded you of her out of the blue, as you say?
Oh, for sure. Like the things that she's made me and sewing and her laughter and stuff. So,
All right. Then those things can be the signs that she may use, because the things that you remind yourself of her with are the things that she would most likely use to get in touch with you.
okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome very much. Aveo.
Aveo.